Okay, so in the previous class we discussed about renal failure and we discussed about renal carcinoma. What can you tell me about renal failure? What is renal failure? What are the types of renal failure? How does it occur? What are the clinical features?
Sir, chronic
Excuse me, I didn't hear you clearly.
sir, chronic
Chronic. What about chronic? You'll have to frame your answer a little better. It's not much I can do with the word chronic.
chronic linear failure.
Acha, what is chronic renal failure? See, if you're giving a word, you should be able to back it up and explain your wording. Acha, first coming to types. One, Adnan told there is chronic renal failure. What is the other type?
Acute renal failure, sir.
Hmm. Okay. What is the most common and most basic difference between them?
Acute is short time, sir. Chronic is long time.
Hmm. Acute is a problem that is progressing very rapidly and it needs to be treated immediately. Chronic is a problem that is going on for a longer period of time and the symptoms also will go on for a longer period of time. Anyway, what are the causes, acute and chronic care?
Sir,
Tobacco
in
chewing,
acute,
eating.
three main causes, sir. Pre-renal causes, intrarenal, post-renal.
Okay. What are pre-renal causes?
In sudden decrease in blood flow,
Hmm. Okay. It can be any problem that has a vascular
hypervolemia.
origin essentially. So there is a problem in blood vessels or somewhere the other
Yes, sir.
blood is not reaching. Intrarenal,
Renal tissue damage directly.
okay. Post-renal,
Ischemia होता है और
ischemia.
nephrotoxicity. Sir.
Post-renal causes.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? What are post-renal causes?
Obstruction with the flow of urine. Obstruction with the flow of urine.
Hmm. At any point in the flow of urine, ureter, bladder, neck, urethra, anywhere. Okay. What are the clinical features that you see with respect to acute renal failure?
Three cases, sir.
Hmm.
Symptoms of acute nephritis.
Hmm. What happens in
Syndrome
acute nephritis?
malproteinuria,
Protein.
proteinemia,
Proteinuria.
hematuria,
Hmm.
edema, and
Hmm.
mild hypertension.
Okay. Next, there is acute nephritis. Other than acute nephritis, what can happen?
Accompanying tubular pathology.
Hmm. What kind of tubular pathology do you see? Acha, what happens to a patient who has tubular pathology?
In these three stages of we see, sir, oliguria, diuretic phase, and phase of recovery.
नहीं
In
वो
all of
होरा
the
क्यों?
cases, oh,
What
tubular
is
damage,
getting damaged? Tubular pathology मतलब who is getting
tube,
damaged?
tubes,
Tubules are getting damaged. ठीक है. Okay. And as you told, there are three phases: oliguric phase, diuretic phase, as well as this thing phase of recovery. All right.
Is everything.
Third one is
Pre-renal syndrome.
okay. Now, what about chronic renal failure? These questions are not meant only for one person. These are meant for everyone. You can feel free to answer them. What is chronic renal failure?
Is a long-term failure of the renal.
Mm. Causes?
We have, we have two main pathologies: glomerular pathology and tubular interstitial.
Okay. How do glomeruli get damaged?
So prolonged glomerulonephritis causes
Mm.
chronic renal failure.
Different types of GN. You can have MPGN, membranous glomerulonephritis, or lipoid nephrosis, anti-GBM disease. बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं. ठीक है. All right. Glomerulonephritis is the underlying cause in most cases. Tubular interstitial disease.
So by using of drugs,
Mm.
infections,
Mm.
long term,
Okay. So mycoplasmal
mycoplasma.
infections or strep, brucella, legionella या SLE है, Sjogren's है, autoimmune diseases है, उससे होता. Clinical features chronic renal failure क्या?
सर ये सर AL disease है तो क्या?
What are the clinical features?
Primary and secondary uremic manifestations.
Hmm. क्या होता है उसमें? अरे suppose primary से start
Sodium
करें.
level into sir primary.
Sodium water imbalance occurs. Another ion also gets affected other than sodium.
Hyperuremia, azotemia,
Azotemia, okay. Hyperuricemia occurs.
hypertension,
GFR decreases.
Hyperuricemia. Yes, hypertension also occurs to a certain degree because of azotemia. Um, what about
pyuria,
pyuria? Pyuria, okay. Pyuria उतना इसमें दिखता. Well, yeah, to certain extent, yes, but okay. ठीक है, pyuria भी दिखता. What about secondary manifestations?
Sir, it occurs outside of the kidney, sir.
Hmm. Systemic manifestations essentially.
Hypertension.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Hypertension क्यों हो रहा?
Hypertension, sir.
इसको इधर भी प्लेस कर सकते हैं. Why is
Oh, blood.
hypertension occurring?
accumulation of
सर आउटसाइड डैमेज होने से फ्लो रुक जाता सर उसके.
You are telling something accumulation of what?
fluids, sir.
Fluid. Okay. Because of sodium and water imbalance, water starts getting retained inside the body, leads to hypervolemia. That is one cause of hypertension. Anything else? यहाँ पर that is not the only cause. Primary uremia में there are a lot of problems. Hyperkalemia
स्किन
हो रहा,
विल इफेक्ट.
metabolic acidosis हो रहा, and a lot of things is happening. Why is it leading to hypertension? Other than only fluid coming in. Think. Acha. So you were also telling ki integumentary
म्यूकस
system
सर
will get
आल्सो.
affected. Yeah, yeah. Excuse. Please repeat. Okay. Skin gets affected, wherein you will see light yellowish
म्यूकस आल्सो.
skin. I'm not able to hear you clearly. Please type it in. Skin changes its color. All right. Anything else in secondary
So
uremia?
mucosal ulceration.
Mucosal
Ulceration.
mucosal ulcerations occur. Why do
Ulcer.
mucosal ulceration occur? Anyone else? How do mucosal ulcerations occur in case of secondary manifestations of uremia? Okay, then yeah, renal carcinoma याद है? What is renal carcinoma?
Yes, sir. It occurs in males age of 50 to 70.
Okay, other than one or two students, is there anyone else who remembers this? If you are not able to retain anything, there is no point in me taking classes. आप लोग simply textbook से भी पढ़ ले सकते हैं ना, ज़्यादा कुछ difference नहीं करने वाला है ये level पे रहे तो. I'm not telling you to detail each and everything, but at least what is renal carcinoma, some outline कुछ तो याद होगा. At least renal carcinoma kidney में होता तो याद रहता. Hopeless. Okay, forget about it. We'll start with cystitis today. So cystitis is essentially inflammation of your urinary bladder. Normally, urinary bladder does not get infected. It is very resistant to infection. Only in special conditions you will see cystitis occurring in patients. Okay, generally these occur when the patient already has a UTI, especially upper UTI. So, for example, the patient has tuberculosis, renal tuberculosis हुआ, वो tuberculosis की वजह से that what do you call, the mycobacterium is spreading to urethra and it is causing cystitis. The most common cause of cystitis will be E. coli. Very, very, very infective fellow. This is the most common cause of UTI as well. Okay, followed by Enterobacter. Sometimes it can occur because of Klebsiella, Pseudomonas, and Proteus as well. Almost all the bacteria that can cause urinary tract infections can cause cystitis as well. Okay, now pathologically you will see that the bladder mucosa will become very red. There will be hemorrhage essentially. Whenever there is cystitis, there will be hemorrhage inside the bladder mucosa, and you will see that it will inflame, it will become swollen. All right, there might be suppuration. You might see ulcers, you might see abscesses being formed in that area in the bladder mucosa itself, and you will see a lot of inflammatory cells entering into the area. Lymphocytes, macrophages, neutrophils, they'll start completely, they will cause the what do you call, inflammation essentially. ठीक है, जो swelling होती, that is occurring because not just because of these abscesses, suppuration हो के abscesses हो रहा, but it is also because of all of these cells invading. ठीक है, there might be edema, and because of all of this what happens is, see, there's a lot of things that are entering into your bladder and they are essentially swelling up the mucosa of your bladder. What happens because of this is it will cause congestion in the bladder. It might also impair urinary outflow. Okay, because of all of this inflammation occurring in the system, in the bladder itself. Think about it, आपका bladder इतना है, ठीक है, let us suppose this is the mucosa of the bladder. Now, because of inflammation, what is happening is this layer is increasing. I'm not telling the, okay, let us suppose the green part represents inflammation. ठीक है, पूरा it is getting inflamed and it is literally moving into the lumen of that what do you call, urinary bladder. What happens because of this is, see, The amount of urine that your bladder will be able to store and that can pass through properly will significantly be impacted. Okay? The amount of urine that can be stored inside your bladder will also get affected because of congestion of mucosa. Now, sometimes patients who have multiple attacks of cystitis, again and again they are getting UTI infections, again and again they are getting cystic cystitis. They will have chronic cystitis, wherein there might be scarring. Mucosal epithelium will become very, very thick, and sometimes you will start seeing polyploid masses. Okay? Small polyploid masses will be present inside here. They will start moving into the lumen of the bladder. Okay? You might see ulceration occurring, you might see ulceration be occurring in the mucosa itself. You will see granulation tissue because of these repeated acute attacks of cystitis. What happens is mucosa will get damaged again and again, and there will be repair, in the sense that scar formation will start taking place, fibrosis will occur in that area, a lot of problems. That cystitis, the cyst itself, urinary bladder, it will lose its flexibility. Now your urinary bladder is supposed to be quite flexible in order to house urine. The problem here is that because of repeated damage, it will start getting damaged to such an extent that there will be formed, and these scars are not exactly flexible. Okay? The fibrous tissue that will form the scar, or because of fibrosis the scars that are being formed, they are not exactly flexible. That can create a lot of problem. Okay? The patient essentially will not be able to hold their urine. There'll be multiple frequency of micturition will increase. All of that will happen. Sometimes some patients will show interstitial cystitis. So other than acute and chronic cystitis, there is interstitial cystitis as well. This is also called Hannas also. This will mostly occur in middle-aged women. So what happens is, whenever, again, these people are also suffering from multiple attacks of acute cystitis, and it becomes very severe. Okay? Repeated attacks of severe and excruciating pain because of this repeated cystitis. They will have a lot of pain in that area, especially when the bladder is being distended. Okay? Whenever urine is being formed and it is being stored inside the urinary bladder normally is supposed to distend, it is supposed to swell up. ठीक है, यहाँ पर because of multiple acute attacks that area will be severely damaged, and what will happen is, whenever it is distending, it will cause a lot of pain to the patient. uh, Normally patients who have interstitial cystitis, their frequency of micturition will increase. They will have a lot of difficulty in urinating as well. To a certain extent it will be painful process. Okay? And there will be decrease in bladder capacity. Okay? Significant decrease in bladder capacity. You will also see, if you perform a cytoscopy, you'll be able to see ulcers in the particle inside the urinary bladder. That is why this is also called Hannas also. Hannas ulcer. Okay? Interstitial cystitis is also called Hannas ulcer. Then there is polyploid cystitis as well. Polyploid cystitis. So there is polyploid like growth isme. There is papillary projections that are literally like tumors. They are growing inside. They're not malignant per se, but they are growths that are occurring within the bladder itself, and they will start moving into, they start projecting into the bladder mucosa. Okay. Sometimes you'll also see submucosal edema occurring in that area. So papillary projections in on the bladder mucosa along with submucosal edema, that will occur in polyploid cystitis. Now, coming to male genital systems, you have a lot of small disorders of male genital system, male and female genital system. We'll start off with male. So the first one is cryptorchidism. Cryptorchidism is essentially undescended testes. Okay, this will occur in about 0.2% of people. 0.2% of adult males suffer from cryptorchidism. यहाँ पर the testis is not descending properly because of various reasons. Now in 70% of the cases, so let us suppose this 0.2% represents 100%. So I'm only talking, let's suppose अब 1000 लोग हैं, 1000 लोगों में से only 2 people are affected. Out of 1000 males, only 2 are affected. So let me project the numbers a little bigger, okay, so that you understand a bit better. Let us suppose we take 1 lakh individuals instead of 1000. ठीक है, तो 1000 में से 2 थे, तो 1 लाख में से 200 रहते. ठीक है, 0.2% of 1 lakh will be 200 individuals. Now 200 individuals who are suffering from cryptorchidism, in 70% of the cases, meaning in 140 patients, almost 140 patients, you will see that the undescended testes is lying in the inguinal ring. So just for a frame of reference, this is the path of your testes. Okay, this is how they are supposed to descend down. Now sometimes they are stuck in the inguinal ring itself, sometimes they will stay in the abdomen. In 25% of the cases they'll stay in the abdomen. 70% of the cases those undescended testes are stuck at the inguinal ring. Remaining 5% they will be present at other sites. For example, intra abdominal location रह सकता, या scrotal sac में अटके हुए रह सकते, wherever it is. Most common is this is 70% of the cases will be in inguinal ring, 25% of the cases abdomen. Okay, the other 5% are other locations, intra-abdominal location and scrotal location. Now there are multiple causes for cryptorchidism. They can be classified into, one is mechanical cause or mechanical factors. Mechanical factors will specifically include, for example, the spermatic cord is very short. Okay, the testis is not able to descend properly because the cord is very short, or inguinal canal is very narrow. It is not allowing the testis to descend properly. Or maybe sometimes there are adhesions to the peritoneum. If the testes and the surrounding cells of the testes are getting stuck to the peritoneum, they'll not be able to descend properly because they are stuck. Okay, those are all mechanical factors. Sometimes it can be genetic factors. Genetic factors may generally, it will include trisomy of the third chromosome, so 13th chromosome. It might be maldevelopment of the scrotum is not developing properly, or even maldevelopment of cremaster muscles. Cremaster muscles also help in descending of the testes. Agar cremaster muscles properly developed nahi hai, to testes will not descend properly. It might be hormonal factors, the third one. Hormonal factors, specifically deficiency of androgenic secretions. Now before birth, essentially when the fetus is present in the mother's womb, there is enough amount of testosterone that is being made, and that testosterone helps in several functions. It will help in differentiation of gender, it will help in development of, early stages of male reproductive system, all of that. Agar there is not enough amount of androgenic secretions, testosterone, if that is not being produced, then that can also be a reason where testes are not descending properly. Now, in most of the cases of cryptorchidism, you will see that it is a unilateral problem, in the sense that only one of the testes is not descending properly, the other will descend. In 25% of cases, it will be bilateral. Okay. In 75% of the cases, it is unilateral. Only one side, one testis is not descending properly. 25% of the cases, both the testes will not descend properly. And especially the testes that has not descended properly, it will be very small in size. It will be fibrotic and it will be firm. Okay. You will see certain changes occurring in seminiferous tubules. You will see that there is loss of germ cell elements, specifically in seminiferous tubules. Germ cell elements will not be seen. You will see that there is decrease in total amount of spermatogenesis that is occurring. Okay. There is damage to the seminiferous tubules. The basement membrane, tubular basement membrane, might be thickened. Sometimes interstitial stroma gets affected. Okay. Interstitial stroma, usually there is increase in fibrovascular stroma. Okay. Interstitial fibrovascular stroma size increases. You will also see a lot of Leydig cell, more than normal amount of Leydig cells being present in that area. Sometimes they might be present as small clusters of Leydig cells. So the Leydig cells are responsible for production of testosterone. Under the stimulus of luteinizing hormone, they will produce testosterone. So these Leydig cells, they are either present singly in the interstitial stroma. Sometimes they might be present in small clusters. Now, clinically, there is no exact way to see the patient who has cryptorchidism, in the sense that especially patients who are less than 2 years of age or who have not attained puberty, there is they are essentially asymptomatic. It is not possible to tell whether or not they are cryptorchid until and unless you are, taking them to a doctor and they are undergoing some physical examination. So regular physical examination is important. अगर physical examination नहीं कर रहे बेबी का, or even if they are in pre-pubertal age, you are not doing physical examination, you will generally not find cryptorchidism. Okay. And if you are finding it in time, you can perform surgical correction or orchiopexy कर सकते हैं आप. Generally what happens is, if you are not performing surgical correction before 2 years of age or even before pre-pubertal period, it will lead to a lot of problems. In these patients who are not corrected in time, there might be sterility or infertility. Some patients will have inguinal hernias. Okay. Other patients might develop malignancy, cancer. So these are some serious problems that will occur if you are not able to detect cryptorchidism in time. Okay. That is why it is important to take children for physical examination on regular basis. Then another small topic we have is testicular atrophy. Now, atrophy is essentially secondary problem. It is occurring, testicular atrophy is occurring because of some other primary problem that the patient has. So that primary problem might be cryptorchidism, or it might be a vascular disease where blood is not reaching to that testes. It might be inflammatory disorder. There is inflammatory damage to the testes. Hypopituitarism, pituitary secretions are not reaching the testes properly. Several causes. One is, so these are mostly secondary. Okay. Secondary to cryptorchidism, it might be vascular disease, blood vessels are getting damaged, or whatever the cause, where blood is not reaching properly. It might be inflammatory in origin. Hypopituitarism, pituitary secretions are not enough. Malnutrition, very common due to malnutrition. Uh, obstruction obstruction to the outflow of semen, or elevated amount of female sex hormones, very high levels of FSH, follicle stimulating hormones, during growth periods. या फिर let us suppose someone is taking steroids, androgenic steroids, radiation हुआ, chemotherapy हुआ. All of these can cause testicular atrophy. Sometimes you will see that it is a genetic disorder as well. There's a problem called Klinefelter syndrome. K is silent. It's called Klinefelter syndrome. इसमें क्या होता? The patient has a developmental abnormality. They have 47 chromosomes. ठीक है? There will be one XXY chromosome that can cause atrophy. This thing as well. It's a developmental abnormality. उसी वजह से भी हो सकता. Mostly it is a secondary problem, secondary to any of those cryptorchidism या फिर all of them. Or it might be very rare cases. It might be a development problem like this, developmental problem where the patient is having 47 chromosomes instead of 46. Now, morphologically, the changes that you see will be similar to cryptorchidism. Okay, there will be problem in the seminiferous tubules. There will be problem in the interstitial stroma, and it can again cause problems of sterility, malignancy, and all of that. Now, we will continue with prostatic hyperplasia in the next class. Please read cystitis and cryptorchidism. These are not exactly complicated topics. Please make it a point to read it the day the class is done. Okay, so that you'll have some knowledge of what happened.